Hello, everyone. Welcome to Just Our Stories one-on-one interview where we talk to different youth with different identities and experiences. Today, we have a very special guest who'll be sharing his insights on entrepreneurship and youth entrepreneurship particularly. Welcome, Saif.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. As Tom mentioned, I'm Saif, 26-year-old, straight out of Toronto. Used to spend a lot of time back in Dhaka, and really excited to talk about entrepreneurship.
All right, fantastic. We'll get to learn a little bit more about Saif and his entrepreneurial journey as we go on. We're not going to waste any time. This is like rapid fire interviews. Right off the bat, Saif, how would you define entrepreneurship?
Jumping into the hot definition of entrepreneurship, I think there's a lot of different entrepreneurship definitions. The one that kind of stood out to me the most, and I can't remember where I got this from, but someone mentioned this. It's basically the relentless pursuit of opportunity without regards to resources. That one is a very word-heavy definition, but to break that down, the relentless opportunity. So you trying to figure out what is an opportunity, what can potentially make money, or what can be successful, and pursuing to give it all your heart and hard work. And then on the flip side of that, which is also really important in entrepreneurship, is the resources you have. And oftentimes as a entrepreneur, you're always resource constrained. So I think that definition in particular pays tribute to all the different factors of entrepreneurship. So.
All right, very nice. I think that's a good, easy way to remember it. Next, what would you say are some of the important qualities of an entrepreneur?
I think one of the most important qualities is being able to be a great team player. I think for most of the entrepreneurial ventures I've worked in, they haven't necessarily been in a solo format. Not that you can't be a solo entrepreneur, but being able to have and connect with a ton of different people, being able to empathize, see the best in people, and also when things are going really difficult, that's, I think, really important to being a team player. The second is being resourcefulness. So going back to that definition. So oftentimes you're resource constrained, so you don't know what's going to happen, what are the right moves, what are the right things to take, but you either have conviction in your own beliefs or you have some external motivations or internal motivations for that matter. So I think it's really important to be able to hone in on that. Those are the biggest two that I can think of off the top of my head.
Right. I think those are some really important qualities. At what stage of your life did you sort of figure out that, entrepreneurship was the path for you?
Yeah, so I think I would say I'm still figuring things out, much like anyone else listening to this podcast. What I will say is that my dad is an entrepreneur, and that definitely helped shed light into what it takes to be an entrepreneur, what that opportunity can kind of form all the way from ideation to creation. So from that perspective, I was introduced to it very early on. And when I was trying to figure out stuff in postgraduate and graduate degrees and trying to figure out where I fit into this field, entrepreneurship was one that just kind of stood out to me. So I decided to pursue it for now.
All right, fantastic. I think this question, a lot of people might be wondering, what are you working on venture-wise these days?
Yeah, so I'm always jumping from project to project, but right now, the one I was working on, or one I'm working on right now, it's called Ditto, so getdittoapp.com. It helps you switch between tasks in one click on your Mac computer. Basically, we created this program that helps you tackle and try to solve working on multiple different workflow. I'm sure if you're working on your computer, there's a million different Chrome tabs open, documents, applications. It gets very confusing. You don't know what to do for what. So using our app with a single button, everything gets cleaned up, shuts down, you can open, close, and transition between different workspaces. So that's what we've been working on. We launched on Product Hunt and it went fairly well, and we just interviewed for Y Combinator recently.
All right, very nice. What are some memorable past ventures you've worked on?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite one was the very first sort of venture I worked on. It almost seems weird to call it even a venture, but it's sort of an idea that kind of came about. So I was ordering, I think it was fried chicken or something along those lines late at night. And I noticed when I went into the restaurant that they had a surplus amount, so a ton of fried chicken just left over. And I was noticing that the chef was just going to throw all that out as I was ordering it. And I was like, wait, how come you're throwing all that out? Is that like, is the chicken bad? Has it expired or anything? It's like, no, it's just company policy, end of the day. Can't really do much. In fact, here you go, have some extra ones because you just asked and we're going to throw it out. And I was like, wait, there's so much unused capacity there. I'm sure people would want to be able to access that food. It's not that it tastes bad, has expired, or it's still within the means for your consumption. So I create a platform called Biteless. It helps you essentially find surplus food deals around you. And yeah, that was really memorable because that's sort of my first time sort of trying to figuring out how venture creation works, taking that from the idea to creation side.
Okay, very nice. Here's a question I like asking everyone, entrepreneur or not. How would you define success?
Yeah, definition for success varies from people to people. I think there are some internal factors and some external ones. The external ones for ventures and doing like startups, things of that nature is definitely, I would say, being able to raise a certain amount of capital, how you're seeing the public limelight and PR releases and whatnot, how that company is viewed by like potential employees and people coming in. So I think those are, and employee size count, and I can go on and on. So those are like external factors. And I think those are kind of important. But in order for you to really be successful at your entrepreneurial venture or journey, the biggest thing is like, are you working on something that's solving a real problem? It's always the fundamental question. And success for that, for me, I think stems from either learning something new while working on this. So whether it be a new skill set, a new way to connect with people, a new domain expertise that I've just kind of picked up. So those are avenues for internal growth. That's, I think, really motivational in the long term.
All right, that's a great segue onto my next set of questions. What do you enjoy most about being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I think the idea that you've created something and the potential that could affect, even a small handful of lives. Now, I've never worked on a project personally that's touched on like millions and millions of different people. But for example, even for Ditto, when we ended up releasing on Product Hunt, and a friend of mine reached out and texted saying like, hey, this was really cool. And I saw it organically, not me kind of doing the reach out and saying like, hey, like it kind of solved a few seconds of his day. Seeing things like that is a metric of success. And it's also really enjoyable as an entrepreneur. So I think having that impact on the end customer, user, whatever you want to call it, is really nice feeling.
Mm-hmm. And on the flip side, what do you find most challenging about being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, there's so many. I don't even know how big that list should be. Entrepreneurship is really a tough journey. Could be very long-winded. You're always resource constrained. You're always in the unknowns. You're always stressing about stuff either happening internally to the company or externally. And then, you try to figure out how do you manage entrepreneurship alongside your personal life and your relations and then the sacrifices you might need to make there. Not that every entrepreneurial venture you have to start has to be this very serious thing, but it's something to keep in mind. And it's definitely not something for everyone based on what I've kind of learned.
That's very insightful. And on that note, looking back, what are some things you wish you would have done differently?
Yeah, so I think one of the things is I early on went on. So I did more on the tech entrepreneurship side of things, and I jumped straight up and into it. And I think that's really good. But then it could also be really bad in the sense of I don't have enough like work or professional experience to kind of supplement that entrepreneurship. So because I went about it a bit differently, I wouldn't say it's a regrettable experience, but it's a different experience that I was taught in the back of my head. Because a lot of entrepreneurs also like maybe work for 10 years and then do their entrepreneurial big venture or whatever the case is. Just something to note. I don't think that's definitely the case of one way being completely better than the other one. trying to think of, is there something else? But it's not coming to my mind.
Okay. The next few questions are a little bit more practical / technical, if we can call it that. What do you look for when building a team?
Yeah, I think you're going to spend a lot of time with your team members. So it's almost like if you're trying to find a significant other, like trying to see, or like a best friend scenario. So to put it in layman's terms, like, can you see yourself spending lots and lots of time with this person and in very troubling and traumatic settings for the most part? So that's the way I've always seen it. And it's worked out pretty well since I've kind of refined on that process over time. This is also really important at getting a really good gut feeling. I think you can get a really good sense of someone once you've interacted with them for an extended period of time. Now, this is not always possible. I mean, the best people to start would be people that's always in your network, you've known for a while, your best friend, some professional person that you've connected with, but just a few pointers to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm. Here's a good one. What do you think makes an effective leader?
Yeah, an effective leader is a great communicator and someone who empathizes well with the team. Great communicator in the sense of if you're doing your job right, you need to be able to convince people to not only join you on this entrepreneurial journey, but also retain them, maintain them, keeping them happy. So that's where I think that communication aspect really comes in.
Mm-hmm. Definitely not an easy position to be in. Last but not least, I've heard a lot of entrepreneurs express feelings of doubt. So as an entrepreneur, how do you manage feelings of doubt?
Yeah, we doubt ourselves like almost all the time, even like yesterday, even today. Like there were several decisions that we just had to kind of make, and there's a couple of frameworks you can use for this. One is very much being that this is what I think is going to happen, and almost closing your eyes and having that blind faith and moving forward. It's not the best, but in times of tough decision making, you need to be able to strive, especially as a leader or someone in the chair of who's leading your venture. The other sort of process for trying to reclaim doubt is either asking for external advice, trying to see for yourself if one thing needs to be prioritized as your main focus as opposed to the other, and sort of what's the cost behind all that. Cost in the sense of not only like dollar and resources, but also like time, money, and like effort level. So those are some frameworks you can try to use for minimizing doubt.
Okay, fantastic. That's everything for today. Thank you for joining us, Saif. Any social media or platforms or people can reach out that you want to plug?
Yeah, so I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, so definitely feel free to connect with me. It's just my name, Saif Murtaza, on LinkedIn. I'll share the details with Hamid. And yeah, I'm also on the Discord server for JOS. So if you ever wanted to chat, message, whatever the case is, feel free to do so.
All right, fantastic. And thank you to the audience, as always, for watching and listening. This will probably be up on the JOS YouTube in video format and probably on the Spotify in audio format. All our platforms you can check out through our website, justourstories.ca. That's pretty much it. And stay tuned for the next episode. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.